Green and White Report. It is Super Bowl Sunday, the day that we have all been waiting for. I'm Joe Des, joined by Oscar Henderson, Jack David by my side. How are you all doing this Super Bowl Sunday morning?
Some of us have been waiting for this day a little bit more than others in here, but very good. Glad. This show on Super Bowl Sunday is always the best one I feel like we do every year. Always so fun talking about the game. We're going to get into it a little bit here, but obviously a great weekend for Michigan State sports after what was a kind of brutal week leading up to it. But they got their get back on Saturday.
Yeah, I would say it was a great day in MSU sports.
Yes,
because,
for sure,
yeah, especially Friday was not a fun day, at least for hockey. But
point.
like, who cannot be amped up about the Super Bowl? I'm amped up about the game. It should be a good game. Last year wasn't a good game, so I hope we do get a good game this time. And just everything that comes with the Super Bowl, more than just the game. And it does stink that it's the last football game we're going to see until August.
I think so.
Around August, it'll be last.
Then preseason comes back. The
Yeah,
worst
the last
football ever. Yeah.
last regular season NFL game or NFL game that matters till September. So that stinks. But how can you not be fired up for tonight?
Yes, and then, of course, you guys mentioned it, a lot of hype around campus. Michigan State basketball, possibly the best game they've had the entire 4 years that we have been here.
I was talking to my friends about this, like my friends that I go to the games with, like in the zone. It was the best game we've ever seen.
Yeah,
I was going to say the only one I can think of being close to it was maybe the upset against Purdue.
Yes, that's a good
couple
one.
years ago, where Tyson ended up hitting that game-winning shot.
Yeah.
That's the only other crowd pop I
We
can
weren't
think
here
of.
for that, though.
But were we not really?
That was the year before we were here.
Wow.
Yeah, the only one
I could have sworn that was our freshman year. My mistake.
The only one I've heard people bring up is that Michigan senior night. People have said maybe that one, but still, I think this one from tip-off to final whistle was the best, most entertaining game. So good. That second half shot, Kurtang misses the three. It's wide open. Kohler gets the rebound. He was talking about it after the game. He said he saw just a tunnel towards Tang. Chucks it to him. Didn't even have to watch it go in. He knew what was happening. He does not miss two in a row.
It's like
So
rebound Bosch, back out to Allen.
Just 3-pointer.
That moment for MSU, genuinely. But yes, for those who didn't see, an 85-82 overtime win versus Illinois, the fifth-ranked Fighting Illini. And you want to hear this stat. This one blew my mind from Tim Marshall, our beat writer. He gave us this one. This is the first time this senior class has beaten a top 5 team. The last time that MSU beat a top 5 team, all the way back February 2022.
Really?
Yeah.
They did not beat one last. No, they did not.
They didn't.
I know. They were always right around that 6 to 10 range.
Yeah.
They're never a top 5 team. They had a chance against Duke this year. They didn't get that done. They had a chance against Michigan. Didn't get that done. Nebraska didn't get that done. Now, fourth time is a charm. Finally getting a top 5 win.
There you go. I mean, I was trying to think through last year, but then I remembered we were just wire to wire the best team in the Big Ten last year. But we're not going to talk about that. That was last year. But yeah, huge win. I'm very surprised by that stat, honestly. I mean, it is crazy for a Tom Izzo basketball team for this to be their first win for the senior class against a top 5 team. But they deserve it, man. A lot of this week has been a lot of chatter around the team, primarily around one certain point guard. But I mean, we're gonna get into it here. I think he delivered in the only way he could have, and I think that's the best thing about Michigan State is no one cares how you talk about us. No one cares how you feel about us. They're just gonna go out there and perform. And when they needed him the most, He absolutely delivered, and maybe I think his best game all season.
Yeah, it seems like every time Michigan stays down in the clutch, Jeremy Fears drives towards the rack. The big thing was him realizing he was the fastest guy out there yesterday. The fact that he could run to the rim so easily, it's great. And getting to the free throw line, it's been amazing. If he has that three-point shot, he'd be unbeatable.
Oh, my God.
Terrifying to imagine a world where Jeremy Fears had a three-point shot. I saw a stat. I'm trying to remember. Jack, can you please look this up while I wait?
Yeah.
Look what Jeremy Fears' 15 assists were in Big Ten record standing, because it was something where it was I think it was the most over a top 5 AP team. Might have been top 10 AP team ever. Those 15 assists.
I'm pretty sure he's pretty close to breaking the school record too in
Has to be.
assists, or he might have broken it last night.
He had that 17 game against Maryland.
Yeah.
He's just racking them up. It's ridiculous. And I think that Izzo is just so sick of answering questions about Fears at this point, because this last week, yes, you can watch in slow-mo. That play looks terrible. In real time, it doesn't look that bad. You can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to sell the push in the back foul. Leg does come up. Yes, he shouldn't have hit him there, to be honest, but still, when you watch it in real time, it's not as bad.
I know. They were trying to get him again earlier in the first half, I believe, with a tripping call. But, I mean, that one was literally looked at during the game and not ruled a foul. So
Yeah, pretty quickly, too.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Brad Underwood still had some things to say about it afterward. But, I mean, I think Izzo had a great statement about, this game from Fears, that it wasn't necessarily all the noise that was the reason why he needed this game the most. The reason he needed this game was because they were playing Illinois, a top 5 team, the top-ranked Big Ten team in the conference right now. And I think that's what's the best thing about Izzo, is that he understood all the noise that was going on. He knew there was a lot of chatter around his point guard. He even, considered himself benching him potentially for this game. Obviously, it didn't happen because of the Divine Ugochukwu injury. But, it just seems like he really sat down with this guy, and during that press conference, he said, when there's noise like this, it can go one or two ways. You either feed into it or you ignore it. And I think Izzo did a really good job of managing Fears and letting him know, hey, I still believe in you. I still trust you. You're still our guy. And I think that went a really long way over these last 3 days or so leading up to this game from the Minnesota one, where it just felt like Izzo might have had a lot of conversations with Fears about what was going on, and it seemed like those conversations were really productive because he was able to come out here, didn't felt like the noise got to him whatsoever. He just played the way that we know Jeremy Fears plays, and that's like a dog. So he came in and absolutely delivered in this game.
And what a week it's been for Fears. We weren't on the air last Sunday because of the
women's basketball.
The women's basketball games. We weren't able to really get into the Michigan game, and then obviously the Minnesota game happened. Overnight, Jeremy Fears basically became a household name in all the wrong reasons.
Yep.
Those clips are undeniably bad, and he had to reel it in. And in the biggest game, one of the biggest games of the year, against a top 5 team, he was able to reel it in and played one of the best games I've ever seen a college point guard play, to be completely blunt with you. The way he took over the last 8 minutes of that game, the way he flipped a switch, and I know the foul baiting, for a lot of people, it's hard to watch. It's winning basketball sometimes.
Good skill.
Sorry. Sometimes
skill.
you have to do it, and it's the way MSU was able to crawl back into that game was off the back of Jeremy Fears. And I remember looking up, like not really tracking the stats because I'm just so into the game, and looking up, I'm like, oh my gosh, he has 13 assists and how many points? And then he ends the game with 26 and 15. It's just absolutely, utterly insane. I wasn't able to find the stat for that one, Joe, but he is currently 20th now for single season assists. He is less than 100 away from Braden Smith, who did it last year.
He's gonna break that. He's gonna shatter that.
He might break that at this pace. He might break that in like 6 games.
Yeah, like that's insane, man. You gotta feel so bad for Braden Smith, dude. Like the guy finally comes up, gets that assist record from Cassius, all for potentially 2 years later, if Fierce decides to stay even that long, for him to probably break the Big Ten record in assist as well. So it'll come back to the green and white where it usually belongs. But poor Braden Smith, though. He's going to have that thing for 2 years, and then it's just, second place, I guess. Second place.
Nothing you can do at that point. Dude.
No.
You get your whole legacy off being the best assist maker or
Exactly.
playmaker in the Big Ten, and nope, it's gone now already.
It's gone.
But for Fears, I want to go back to that foul baiting point that you made, Jack. You watch Jalen Brunson play in the NBA. It works now. What it is you're a 6'1" guard. There's a lot more guys bigger than you now. Just the way the game has evolved, especially point guards. There's guys who are 6'6" playing point guard now. You have to use your skills. He's good at it. He knows how to do that stop and go. I personally don't mind it. I've said it multiple times. He's a player you love if he's on your team. You hate if he's not on your team. I still think that still holds true. Got to give a lot of credit to the freshmen as well. Jordan Scott Cam Ward. Great game. Scott, in the first half, goes out. His eye's cut. It's bleeding. He comes back. They didn't have enough time to fully stitch it up or anything like that. Izzo was talking about post-game. The wrap was around his eye. He was wearing an eye patch by mistake when he first came back. He couldn't see out of one of his eyes at points. Then he comes back, finally gets it cleaned up a little bit better in the second half. But still, 10 points, 4 rebounds, and probably the best defense in the game, you can argue. It's a big reason why Wagler, he only had 16 points.
Oh, my God.
Terrible shooting. 2 of 16 from the field. 10 of his points came from the free throw line. And one of those 2 shots he made was a deep 3 in the last 5 seconds of the game. That got really scary, to be quite honest. You could see Cohen Carr go up to Fears right after, start hugging him, saying, I didn't mean to make it that close. Terrible play, to be honest.
Why didn't we foul?
I don't understand why didn't they foul, but I feel like
never foul up 3.
That's what I was going to say.
If you remember last year against North Carolina, they were up 3. I said they should probably foul here, and then North Carolina hit the game-tying 3. Luckily, they were able to win that game in overtime, but this is a Tom Izzo thing. He does not foul when they're up 3.
That's a great point, Oscar. That UNC game is the exact one I was thinking of. He doesn't do it, but I just couldn't believe that pass was even thrown.
Man.
There was no point. Fears was open. He was trying to do a backdoor cut, and then still he wasn't open. At that point, you got to just hope for something better. But still, they got it done. Really scary. I don't think that there's a Michigan State top 5 win in this season if it wasn't going to be in that fashion where it's almost given away at the last second. Just the way the team's been playing, the top 5 games have been really tough down the stretch. We remember that Nebraska game, the missed free throws from Cooper at the end that would have tied it, possibly pushing into overtime. And I'm just so happy this team finally got one.
I'm very happy. And like you said, it really does feel like this is, unfortunately, the way they do have to win these games is sort of grind them out.
It has to be ugly.
Yeah, really ugly. But it is just because, I mean, now without Divine Ugochukwu, you're really missing a lot of offense on that court. And a lot of playmaking, too. There's just not a lot of guys, especially in that 2-guard spot, who are really comfortable playmaking and ball handling as well. So it makes it really hard for this team to really find offense outside of Jeremy Fears, who had to play 43 minutes yesterday.
Crazy.
Like he sat for 2 minutes in this entire game. Like he had to play, and we needed all 43 minutes of those from Jeremy Fears. So this is how they're going to have to win these games now, going down the stretch without their backup point guard. You hope Denham Wojcik can potentially step up and, fill in that role a little bit better. But yeah, it kind of feels like this is the games that they're going to have to play against these high quality opponents to potentially beat them. It feels like.
Yeah, what's so heartbreaking with Wojcik is he either has stellar defense. He is one of the better defenders on the team when he's fully locked in, or he gets out there, he's moving too fast. I'll share this one. I think it's pretty funny. I shared it on broadcast one time. But have you ever seen the video? It's just some guy pretty much, I think he's making guacamole or something. But he's moving it, like he's just moving his hands really fast, so it looks like he's doing it super fast. I'll show it to you guys after. It'll make sense. But that's what happens to Wojcik on defense sometimes. Sometimes he's almost moving fast where it looks like he's doing great defense, but it's terrible. He's like hand checking and stuff. But otherwise, outside of those possessions, I think he can be a plus defender. And he just needs to come in, just lead the point, defend. That's all he needs to do. Yep. We don't need him to score. We just need him to play maybe 4 minutes. 4 minutes for this MSU team. Fears gets 4 minutes of rest. I'm happy with that going into the tournament. And I got to say, Jackson Kohler as well. Great game. First double-double since January 13th, almost a month. And that's a guy who was having about 10 in a row at one point this season. And Kohler knew that this was going to be a big game. Talking after the game, he was saying that this team has been through a lot of stuff together. He didn't use those words exactly, but we don't want any FCC stuff going on. But still, Kohler was talking about this team is united. They've been through the mud together. They know what it's like to lose. They know what it's like to come out on the other side of these type of games. They finally got one yesterday, I should say. And I think that this is just huge for the program as a whole. The fact that they were getting doubted all around the nation. People were saying, is this team anywhere near as good as we've said? Are they even a top 10 team? Are they a top 15, top 25 team? They lost to Minnesota. We're going to have to say what actually happened. Yeah.
Man.
So I'm just so happy that they finally can shut up the doubters. They finally got a statement win that they needed. They've had good wins this season, but this was the win that will push them over the top. And you look back at last year, they're starting to fall apart a little bit. That Illinois game was circled on the calendar as the turning point for this team. They've got a gauntlet still of a schedule. They have to play Purdue. They have to play Michigan. I would really be excited to watch those games and make sure you keep an eye on them. It's going to be really exciting for the next month and a half here.
Yeah, I think we're just starting to see, there's a lot of talk about how, especially during the Michigan week, how both of those teams were built. Tom not really doing the portal thing, really just developing his players, recruiting through high school. Dusty was the exact opposite. But I think we're seeing what is so valuable about building your team through recruits and keeping guys long-term is, as you mentioned it, they went through a really rough stretch there in those 2 games versus Michigan and versus Minnesota. You feel like a team with a bunch of transfers who don't really understand the program as well as some guys who have been there for years sort of fall apart in those situations, it feels like, and, sort of just lose the season and kind of just let it derail after, having those losses like that. I mean, losing at Minnesota, the score is closer than what it actually was. I mean, they got dominated in that game, unfortunately, it felt like. But it feels like a team that if this team was just a bunch of transfers and just a bunch of guys who we got from different schools, they would not have been able to come together and come up with this win last night. And I think that's what's so valuable about having this continuity and having these guys together for so long and keeping them together for so long, is that when you have challenging moments like this through the season that are destined to happen, you're able to rally better. You're able to come together a lot easier, because you know these guys already and you've been through it all. You've been through the battles and you just know each other. You trust each other, and you're able to rally even quicker than I think a lot of other teams would right now in college basketball.
Yeah, I think it's a great point that you're making. With Tang especially, he's a guy who wasn't really in the rotation last year, but you sub him in with a bunch of guys who have played together 2, 3, 4 years at this point, and he can just fit like a glove in that spot. And wow, the fact he made that shot. There's been so many moments where we've watched this team, and that shot doesn't go in. They've gotten almost so many times, I think more than any team in the nation at this point in the last 4 years, where it's almost glorious. It's almost something that is remembered in history forever. How about that Cooper 3 that almost went in to go in the second half? Yeah, at the end of the second half, right before overtime, 1 second on the clock.
Could you imagine?
I was freaking out. Fierce chucks it deep, goes past Kohler, who it's intended for. Cooper grabs it, turnaround, jumper from the three-point lane, or three-point arc. And wow, it looked like it was good.
They turned that Illinois defender into a real, Christian man at that moment. For a second, he was praying hard that one did not go in.
The way that it landed, it hit the back of the iron. It looked like it was hitting the backboard and dribbling in. I held my breath for a second. I know Tim Marshall, our beat reporter, he was sitting there too, freaking out. I've never seen that.
Would have been the craziest 3 I've ever seen in my life.
Out of every game winner against a top 5 opponent, could you imagine a guy?
Carson Cooper.
It's Carson Cooper.
A guy who's hit 1-3 in his career. Before that 1-3, the last time he made a 3 was back in 2021.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That would have been awesome.
would have been so hyped. All around, great game. Almost had some almost unforgettable moments. Still, I think Kurt Tang's shot is going to be an unforgettable moment now for this team. If this team goes deep in March, they're going to be replaying that on every single stream.
Oh, yeah.
Just the crowd pop. You mentioned it before this, Oscar. If anybody out there hasn't seen Jack Stager, he was on play-by-play last night. If you check out his story on Instagram, you can see the live crowd pop, and it's deafening. You can't even hear me and him
I was
talking.
going to say, you can't hear you guys.
No,
And there was multiple moments. I went back through the Fox broadcast with Jason Minetti and Steve Smith. There was multiple moments where you couldn't hear them on the broadcast.
That's
because of the pops.
awesome.
It was the Cam Ward coast-to-coast poster, which was wild.
That was
beautiful.
I
crazy.
didn't know that Cam Ward could dribble that fast. And then, obviously, Kurt Tang's 3 was, I compared it, it was louder than Seth Trimble's 3 against Duke.
Hey.
I will say. So,
Yeah. No, great games yesterday as well. UNC
Insane.
went on that near buzzer beater.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it was like 0.8 on the clock.
I was going
or
to say,
something.
they technically should have been a buzzer
Did
beater.
you hear about
but-
that? So they stormed the court.
Yeah.
And they had to get
it, yeah.
everyone off the court, which has to be so
Apparently-
disheartening.
that happens way too often.
Yeah.
Apparently, a bunch of Duke coaches got punched in the face, too.
Really?
John Shire said that
Yeah.
after his press conference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did not see that. That's crazy.
Court storming might be banned here real fast, man. If Duke starts complaining about it, it's over for everyone, man. It's over.
It's nice to see a court storm during a real rivalry. That
Yeah.
Minnesota court storm, what was up with that? I understand that they beat a good team, but there's no rivalry really there.
They weren't expecting it, bro. I don't think people were really prepared for the fact that they could potentially beat Michigan State.
Yeah, it's fair. It is a career, program defining win there, I will admit. Also, going to something crazy that kept clicking into my head yesterday. Brad Underwood, great coach. It was really nice hearing him talk after the game, the respect between him and Izzo. What's really weird, if anybody's ever seen How I Met Your Mother, there's Jason Segel in that, and they age him up in the show pretty much to show what he looked like when he's 60. Exactly, Brad Underwood. Dead on to Brad Underwood.
I have to see Jason Segel aged up again because
You
I
gotta see
love
it, yeah.
I love How I Met Your Mother. I am not I'm trying to picture it right now. I can't, but
It's just Brad Underwood.
it's
It's
so
crazy.
funny.
I kept thinking it the entire time he was talking on the press conference. A very intelligent guy, and what I will say is his media, the way they response to media is so different than Izzo, where Izzo will kind of give it back to the media. What Underwood does is he doesn't really give too much. He doesn't
He's very
tight.
politician.
Yeah, very politician. That's a great way to put it. I still got to touch on Wagler a little bit more. His 46-point outing versus Purdue, that is one of the best performances from anybody in years, especially in the Big Ten. And Oscar, if you have a point to make, you can make it now. Honestly, I'm going to pull up just the sheet of how many records he broke with that game.
I was going to say, I mean, if you just watch some of the highlights from that game, like not only is the 46 points insane, it's just how he got those 46 points. I mean, they were throwing everybody at him from Purdue, and it didn't matter. He was crossing them up. He was just step back, shooting threes, and making them in these Purdue defenders' faces. Like, it didn't matter how hard they contested or whoever they threw on him. He was just making a shot. Like, it was one of the most impressive 46 points I've ever seen. Like, you have to just watch it if you have not seen it yet. Like, it's insane.
Ridiculous. 9 of 11 from behind the arc, just hitting every single three.
Some of the shots he was shooting from behind the arc too are just ridiculous. Like, just fading away and just nothing but net, dude. Like, oh my God, he is a baller.
And if you haven't heard the name Keaton Wagler before this season, there's good reason. He was the 150th ranked recruit, which is complete disrespect to his game at this point.
Yeah.
He only got two high major offers. He didn't have that much scouting on him at points. It was expected that he was going to redshirt this year, and then injuries to the starting lineup forced him into that starting lineup instead. Now he's the top-ranked player in the Big Ten on KenPom. He's 4th in National Player of the Year on KenPom. That 46 points versus Purdue, I'm just going to rattle off a couple of records that broke there. Most ever by a player in a road win over a top 10 team since 1989. Most ever by a freshman in a road game against an AP top 25 opponent. Most ever by a Big Ten player against an AP top 5 opponent. Most points ever by a Big Ten freshman. Mackey Arena scoring record for a visiting player. Most points in a Big Ten road game in 47 years. Most points in any Big Ten game in 32 years. And this is a freshman who was, as I said, the 150th ranked recruit. What he's doing is unprecedented. He's going to be a lottery pick now. And that might be the best scoring game I have ever seen.
How does this kid, like, fall through the cracks? It always astonishes me, like, how some of these guys just end up, like, so lowly recruited. I think of, like, Walter Clayton from last year, right? Like, think of how many amazing shots he made. Yeah. That guy was a 0-star recruit, I'm pretty positive, coming out of high school. Like, it is so phenomenal what the transfer portal has been able to do for some of these guys. Yeah. Like, obviously, this is not a transfer portal kid, but, like, it has given people opportunities that they would have never gotten, it feels like, without the portal and stuff like this. So I feel like it's just this is a great story. I love this kid. As you mentioned, he's going to be a lottery pick most likely. I mean, he's balling, man.
I'm just looking at lists right now. One of the most, like looked at, like, high schooling rankings is 24/7 Sports. Their composite has him as a 3-star.
Yeah,
as a 3-star.
24/7 had 150th. He was 179th by rivals, and yeah, he was expected to redshirt. As I said, he's almost. I'd be ridiculously shocked if he don't win Big Ten Freshman of the Year at this point.
He has to walk away with that. The other teams that offered him were Murray State, Southern Illinois, Colorado State, and Minnesota.
Yeah. I bet Minnesota's really upset. That guy could have really used him.
He grew up in Kansas, and he didn't get an offer from Kansas.
Nah, nothing. Crazy.
Can you imagine him and Darren Peterson together right now?
Oh, no, I
would be ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and now just what he's doing, it's so impressive. It was while Illinois was on a 12-game win streak. He finally has an off game. Underwood even said in the presser he was due. There was a point where, yes, he's a prolific scorer, but he's due.
Sometimes, especially in the Brez too. Yes, I don't know what it is about those hoops. I'm sure you guys saw Luka Garza's little conspiracy theory about the Breslin. I kind of gotta believe him at some point.
Well, what's funny for Garza is he said that they swap it so in the second half you have the worst rim. Mm-hmm. Every time he played Michigan State, his stats in the second half were better than the first half. So you went against his own point that he made.
Oh, look at that.
I know, he messed up. He sat the wrong way, yes. But, yes, very impressive game. A lot of fun to watch. Trying to see if I had anything else about Wagner I want to bring up before we move on a little bit. Oh, yes, so he's on pace to break the freshman scoring record by about 2.5 points. It's ridiculous. I believe that's the Big Ten freshman scoring record overall. I'd be very shocked if it's national. That wouldn't make much sense, but yes. He's now won 5 Big Ten Freshman of the Week awards. He's in uncharted land.
That's insane.
And there's no way he's been starting for that much longer than 5 weeks.
Who else is winning these awards at this point? Because, like,
yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
I'm trying to think of freshmen who could have taken it from this kid, but I can't think of any Big Ten freshmen right now.
There's not really anyone. I mean, Michigan doesn't play freshmen. Purdue doesn't really have freshmen. They're not like Wagler, because Wagler has just come out and he might be an All-American. He probably should be an All-American.
Yeah, he definitely should. Have you seen his stats after he got put into the starting lineup? Let me pull him up real quick. So he He got moved into that point guard spot after a couple injuries. I believe it was Boswell who got injured. But yes, his last 15 games, 20 points per game, 5.5 assists per game, 50% from the field, 48% from three.
I mean, like 20 points per game in college is ridiculous.
It's like 30 in the NBA.
It's literally like 30 in the NBA.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of a just more insane points per game than that. Like this freshman class in total is just
it's insane.
I know there's a big argument about is this the best freshman class?
Yes.
I feel like it's gonna be hard to argue that it's not, especially looking how these kids are playing. I can't see them not translating this into the NBA, especially someone like Wagler, especially someone like DeBanza, especially someone like Darren Peterson. Man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the only one matching Wagler's stats so far is Cam Boozer. And Boozer's got to be either 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah.
This class, it's insane. You just named a couple of guys. It's so many. It's crazy. For Illinois, one last point I want to make here is that if you notice the twin combo, the 7-footers of Visic, it's crazy. One of them fouls out. You just sub the other one in. You got another 7'1" guy out there, and they can shoot threes. They can block. Thomas Slav has been great at the 3-point line. He's made 36 before that game this year. I believe he made 2 in that game. It's rare that you see a 7-footer pulling up that deep.
I know.
And he makes them 35%. It's so impressive.
Illinois just has all the tall Europeans that can stretch the floor.
They have all the Europeans. If you look at the last names,
Just generally.
We just stop there.
Yeah. If you look at all the last names, it's a nightmare if you're trying to do a pronunciation guide.
I imagine on the broadcast that was
Yeah,
pretty
Jack
hard
did a
work.
very good job. I will
Okay.
give a lot of credit there. Stager, very impressive there. But yeah, Zvonimir Ivisic, he is ridiculous
Yeah.
at blocking. He knows how to use his frame. He's second nationally in block rate at over 14%. 15 games with 2 blocks, 8 games with 3 or more, 9 now after yesterday, 4 games with 4 or more, and then he had 7 versus Florida Gulf Coast University. There's a lot you can say about him, but
Looks
it's
like
so impressive.
We got someone who can maybe give Wemby a run for DPOY.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe his reign is not forever.
Yeah, that would be a fun matchup. He is 7'2", 250.
So
All right, maybe
Wemby's got a
Wemby-
little weight. Wemby's got a little height on him, but you know.
Yeah,
Oh, what's that? What's 4 inches?
missing out on a little weight at least, I think, is the difference. So,
You might be right about that one.
but no, I that's good. That's actually a great point you made there. Maybe there is a Wemby stopper.
Maybe
out there.
there is.
Yeah, you never know. So yes, any final points from you guys about this game?
No, it was just
Oh, Jack, let me ask you one.
Wait.
You were in the zone.
Yes.
What was the environment like near the court like that?
So I've been to about 20 to 25 Izzone games. We'll have 2 more here coming up. This is the best Izzone game I've ever been a part of. I don't think it's really close. I was trying to think of the other games. I've been to great games, but it helps when Michigan State wins the games to make it better. Just to be honest with you guys, the Illinois game 2 years ago was really good. The Oregon game last year was really good. The Michigan game last year was really good. But this game was insane. Loudest I've ever heard a arena period when Tang hit the 3. It was insane when Cam Ward made it. The fact when Carson Cooper had the 3-pointer and the ball went in the air, the fact that the air just basically left the building, it became completely quiet. It was just amazing. It was so worth spending all that time out in the cold because it was very cold.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
I'm
great.
Again, we were talking about this before our show. Breslin's got to be a top 5 home court advantage right now
Has to.
in basketball.
I'm biased. I think it's 1.
I was obviously we do have our biases here. We think it's 1. I have not seen Allen Fieldhouse yet, so like I can't I can't validate
And Cameron
either.
Indoor's got to be up there too.
Yeah,
But
I can't validate, but man, there's something different about Brez, man. It's just the electricity in there, the atmosphere, the crowd, everything about it just feels so different, and it's so awesome to know that you have one of the best college basketball arenas literally 20 minutes away from your place.
Yeah, and Izzo talks about it so much. After that game last night, he was saying that people don't understand the fans have a real effect on these games.
Yeah.
And that he was so lucky. He pounded his chest. One last thing we'll say for men's basketball. This was a pretty funny one during the press conference. Right after the cameras shut off and everything. Actually, cameras are still rolling. I don't want this to sound like I'm giving off-record information. Don't want to lose some licenses here. But yes, cameras are still rolling. Media is still wrapping up at this point. Tom Izzo's still up the stand. He's talking about how it's his favorite day coming up today, the Super Bowl. He gets to watch football all day. He gets to have some chicken wings. He gets to hang out. and he was saying that I get to cheer for Spartans on both sides. There's a running back for the Seahawks, and then there's a punter, Bryce Behringer, for the Patriots. And then someone asked him, who are you rooting for tomorrow? And he comes back up to the mic and he goes, oh, who am I rooting for? Well, I really like Mike Vrabel. And I started getting hyped up in my seat. And then he goes, but I was out in Seattle and I was talking to Kenneth Walker. And I start going, no, Coach, no, not now. Not like this, Coach.
No, Coach.
And he ends up going, you know what? I'll plead the fifth, and then walks off stage.
Wow.
He was playing with my heartstrings that entire time. He was giving it to the Patriots for a second, taking it back. I appreciate the fact that he just said no comments. I got real scared at the end of where it was going.
I could see Izzo getting a lot of respect from Mike Vrabel.
Makes
dude.
complete sense.
It makes a lot of sense. I feel like those two different sports, but they're basically the same coach. It feels.
And I wonder how he feels about Mike McDonald, because we know where he used to be 2 jobs ago.
Yes.
Before the Seattle job. He was, coaching for the team downstate. So
You gotta wonder.
Gotta wonder. But hey, K9 seems to have quite the effect on Tom Izzo, it feels like.
Jack, can you check this one real quick? Just listen to that and then put it on the mic once you find it. We're gonna play some of the MSU men's basketball players' Super Bowl opinions. That's what that's gonna be. Jack David's gonna find that right now. We talked to Kirk Tang and Divine Ugochukwu. Tried getting a few more. Was not able to. Turns out there's a lot more questions, not just about the Super Bowl, it would seem. But still, it's going to be a lot of fun. Jack David's going to find that. For Kurt Tang, he's from New Hampshire. You might be able to guess who he's a fan of, luckily. For Divine, he sadly is probably not a Patriots fan, so I'll say. So, Jack, turn the volume up all the way on that, and here
I believe I couldn't tell by the voice if this is Divine or if this was...
That should be Tang.
Yeah, okay.
I got one question for you. I heard you're a Patriots fan. How you feel about the game tomorrow?
I mean, that's the crib, So, I mean, a Super Bowl, the Patriots gonna come out with it.
Okay. Do you have a favorite player on the Patriots by chance?
Gotta go Drake May.
Hell yeah.
Drake May.
He is a Drake May fan, yes, as everyone should know, the guy who hits the near game-winning shot, the biggest shot of the game, is supporting Drake May on this very special Drake May Sunday. We can hope for one more Drake May Monday where we're all in excitement.
I'm sorry. We're getting off topic here a little bit, but as most of you know, we did have a bet here for Drake May MVP.
So close.
It was so close. Okay. I mean, we said we were going to do a pizza party. We were going to live it up here this Sunday if Drake May had won MVP. Tim Marshall, unfortunately, not here. I don't blame him because he lost all that money on that bet by one vote.
One vote.
And not to mention, not only is it one vote, it didn't go to Stafford.
Nope.
Didn't go to Josh Allen.
Nope.
Didn't even go to Patrick Mahomes.
It didn't go to anyone that was listed for
No
MVP.
finalists.
Nope.
It wasn't a finalist.
It went to Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
So it was from I'm not going to name him. It was a PFF guy, and he tweeted out about it. And his explanation was because of the offensive line woes, not like Drake May hasn't also had offensive line woes, because of the offensive line woes, he did more with less in the regular season, so that's why I gave it to Justin Herbert.
Guy was a 6th seed. He wasn't anywhere near the top of the conference.
Let's be real here for 1 second.
Yeah.
No.
Number 1 overall seed.
Yeah. And I like Justin Herbert, but it's all the hypothetical man stuff that comes out about him. It's all
this
about the
team
what
won,
ifs.
what, 3 games
The
last
big
year?
If, Justin Herbert.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah. For the Patriots, they were expected to be an 8-win, 9-win, maybe 10-win team. And they were able to push to 14 wins. I do like the fact that Vrabel got Coach of the Year. That made me very happy. I won't say exactly what he said during one interview, but I hope that you guys all saw the. Actually, nope, never mind. Yeah, everything I'm going to say about this will be not appropriate for these airwaves. But pretty much asked about giving half of something for a Super Bowl. Very funny.
Oh,
check out the clip.
I've seen it. Yeah,
very good. But yes, I'm a big fan of Vrabel. I was shocked by Josh McDaniels winning Coordinator of the Year. I was happy
too.
about that, but. Very shocked.
Go to Kubiak, but
I thought it was probably gonna be Kubiak,
but it's also not like McDaniels doesn't deserve it.
No, exactly. And it's so funny seeing a guy so good at being a coordinator who is the worst head coach anytime he gets a job.
He ain't leaving, bro. You know he not going nowhere.
It's perfect for you guys.
It is.
It's actually perfect.
The guy is trapped. Imagine you finally try going out doing your own thing, and every time you fail, and you have to keep going back to that old job, saying, "Hey guys, I'm back."
It's the best offensive coordinator situation I could ever think of, man. I wish my offensive coordinators were that bad at head coaching. exciting.
If only Ben Johnson went 1-16.
If only. Man.
Jack, you got that second clip loaded up?
do.
This is Divine Ugochukwu.
I got the Seahawks for sure.
You got the Seahawks?
Seahawks for sure. Yep.
Told him it broke my heart right after that clip ended. But yes, very fun. I'm excited to see this game. We'll talk about it a lot more later. We're going to hop in now. I apologize, Oscar. I may do a little bit for this one. But now we're going to talk some MSU hockey, defeating number 1 Michigan in the duel in the D. This is right after a heartbreak in Ann Arbor where they led 3-1. Michigan managed to come back. There were some fears about that happening yesterday, but after taking a 4-0 lead, they dominated to a 5-2 victory in Detroit. Oscar, you want to break it down?
Yeah, definitely. Great game. Obviously, this was kind of the same situation they found themselves in last year. Lost to Michigan at Yost before the duel in the D, then end up coming into Detroit and just dominating Michigan throughout the entire 60 minutes. This was a complete win from this team. This was such a great series from these guys. I mean, you talk about who they had to face up against, the number 1 team in the nation, number 1 in offense in the country, number 1 power player in the country. I mean, this team is rolling. The only time they had lost, we account for 2 of their losses. The only other time they lost before the duel in the D was to us on December 6th. They have won 9 straight games before that. They won like 12 of their last 11. They were on fire. And so for us to come here in the duel in the D, dominate them the way they did, not only that, but really dominate that first game too up until late in that third period, I think it just speaks volumes about how good this team actually is. The first line, man, I mean, oh my God, this is probably the best first line in the entire country. Charlie Stramel, Fox FS1 had a really great statement about him on Friday where they said if you drop him in an NHL game right now, he would not look out of place. And I 100% agree with that. The guy does it on both ends. He's so good, such a good playmaker, such a good defender. I think he still leads the nation in plus minus right now. I think Porter might be up there too, but he does everything for this team, and it's so good to see a guy who will not only give it his all on the offensive end of the ice, but will do as much, if not more, on the defensive side of the ice. And that's really where this team has made their bread and butter, is on the defensive side. They're the best defense in the entire country, only giving up 1.9 or 2 goals a game now, got up to 2. It was around 1.7 before this weekend. But it's one of the best defenses in the country, and that's where they really pride themselves on, is really being the more physical team, the more aggressive team, and really dictating how the game is going to be played on their terms. And they do such a good job at it. They really force the other teams to play around Michigan State rather than playing their style of play. They have to play to counter Michigan State. And I think you saw that the last couple of weeks where Michigan and Penn State could not break out through the neutral zone on their defense in 5-on-5. They had to switch to doing a lot of stretch passes, leaking their forwards out in the neutral zone early, playing 4-on-5 defense to try to create offensive rush opportunities because they just could not break through this Michigan State defense through the neutral zone. So it's one of the best. And yeah, third straight duel in D, 6-1 last year, 5-2 this year. And yeah, retake first place in the Big Ten as well.
So do you think they're going to be the number 1 ranked team in the country now, or is it something where those polls can be a bit tough to tell how it's going to go?
It is a bit tough to tell. So right now, Michigan was at 48 first place votes, I believe, as of last week. Yeah, they are very close to being the unanimous best team in the country. I think, however, seeing how Michigan State played throughout these 2 games, obviously dominating the second one, very well should have won the first one, but we're not going to talk about that third period, but it felt like dominated this Michigan team throughout the 120 minutes and 2 games of the series. And so, especially considering now that they're the first place team in the Big Ten, I don't see how you couldn't rank them number 1. Obviously, the USCHO rankings only mean so much. It's kind of like the AP poll in basketball. It really doesn't mean anything in terms of seeding. Really you're looking at NPI and stuff like that to figure out where rating is. And currently they are number 1 on NPI, finally surpassed Michigan. So that is a huge thing. They're the number 1 overall seed currently ranked in the country. So I think that should bounce them up to number 1. But my big concern is, unfortunately, I think the seed may come down to not only if these 2 teams play in the Big Ten tournament, But the fact that Michigan State, unfortunately, lost their first game of the season at home to a pretty bad New Hampshire team, and Michigan does not have a loss that bad, and their quality conference win or out-of-conference win is way better than our quality out-of-conference win because BU sort of struggled this season, and Western Michigan is still a top 5 team, and they beat Western. So it may come down to that, especially if these two teams play again in the Big Ten Championship, but right now, Michigan State controls their own destiny. They have a way easier schedule than Michigan. They play the bottom 3 teams of the Big Ten. Michigan still has to play 3 out of the 4 top teams in the Big Ten.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So it's battle for points now with the rest of the season for the Big Ten. That goes in Michigan State's favor for sure. So I want to ask you. Just got 2 more questions about this. In Detroit, what was that atmosphere like? How electric was it over the season?
It was phenomenal, man. I mean, 17,000 people there. The booth that we were in, they had seats like way up top near our auxiliary booth. We were literally blocking the seats, and yet there were people still in there just hanging out and chilling, having a great time, which I thought was insane. I could have sworn those would have been empty, but if the bleachers up there are, pretty packed, you can imagine how the rest of it was like. And it was really an impressive crowd, considering that, Michigan State had 2 huge games going on at that time. It was a little more Michigan heavy just because of that, I feel like. They didn't really have anything going on yesterday, but it was a packed crowd. It was a go green, go white cheer, as loud as I've heard one in a neutral arena after the game. So they showed out, man. It was a great atmosphere. And yeah, people really like college hockey, man. I'm starting to figure that out. They're starting to really get into it, and I think
Fox is figuring it out too.
Yes. Although I have some problems with their broadcast that they had. It was a little sketch, but
yeah, not a fan.
It was just so. There were just some little audio and technical issues that I thought they had. But, I mean, other than that, it was a great broadcast, I thought. And, I mean, so great for college hockey to be on national television like that. And to have that game, too, be the one that was nationally televised. I mean, despite the fact they lost, it was still an amazing game on Friday.
Huge. Okay, Jack, anything you want to ask Oscar about?
About hockey? Honestly, no, because you really touched everything that I got into it. I do actually, now that I think about it, the first game, we've seen MSU before have a lead, and then that lead goes away. I was watching that game. Shocker, I was actually watching hockey. I was watching that game, and it felt like Michigan had control of the puck for especially that third period, basically 90% of it.
Yeah.
Does that worry you at all?
I don't know. I mean, look, it does worry me a little bit because, like you said, there have been times with this Michigan State team where they've really sort of felt like they were reeling, and at times it just feels like they're not able to respond as well at points like that. But, I mean, when you mentioned it, I feel like this is really only the first time in which I felt like they have choked a lead to this extent. And I mean, you have to give credit to Michigan. As I mentioned, this is one of the best offenses in the entire country. They really figured it out in the third period. Obviously, that shorthander by Kiernan Draper was kind of a gimme off the turnover, but it was a really great offensive period for Michigan in that. But in terms of long-term worry for this team, I don't really think so, because if you look at how the rest of that game was played, and really it just felt like Michigan was able to get a lot of luck and keep the puck in their offensive zone.
That's a good point.
But they were not able to even get in there for the first 40 minutes of that game. So it was something that I do agree Michigan State does have to handle a little bit. When Michigan was in their O zone, they had a lot of quality shots. But as long as they're able to continue the neutral zone defense that they play, I think they're going to be able to continue to be really well. And I think, like you mentioned it's a good point. The only way that Michigan State really loses these games is if they beat themselves.
Exactly.
And so as long as this team is playing the way that they know how to play and playing to their strengths, not making stupid mistakes, we've seen them really cut down on those penalty minutes a lot too. Again, this team really just feels unbeatable, and it just takes them making mental lapses and their own mistakes to really beat them. And I think that speaks volumes about how good this team actually is, that the only way to beat them is if they beat themselves.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like that question, Jack. One final one for you, Oscar. We've seen the troubles these teams have when it comes not March Madness. I shouldn't say that, but the version of that, the Frozen Four.
Frozen Madness, we'll call it. Or...
What is the official tournament called? Just so everyone
It
can
is
know.
just the NCAA tournament.
Okay,
they just have a name for the Frozen Four.
Okay, because I knew Frozen Four. I didn't know if there was something else. I'd been giving them discredit saying the NCAA tournament. Okay,
it is just the NCAA tournament. They have no fancy name.
How are you feeling coming in the NCAA tournament? Because we've seen these teams have such great regular seasons, and then you get to the tournament, and it's, I believe, first round exit the last couple of years. So how do you feel this year compared to the last few?
Yeah, obviously last year was really disappointing. Quite the upset that Cornell was able to pull off against us. Look. It's so hard with these games because Nightingale historically is a great game 2 coach of series. Usually if they end up losing that first game, you can almost guarantee they're not going to lose the second game. They're they're really consistent and really good at making adjustments. The only problem is, as I just mentioned, there is only one game in the tournament. And so you don't get that chance to make those adjustments. And sometimes it does get kind of hard for this team to win those first games like we've seen at times. And so with it being a one game, difference in the tournament, it can get a little harder, I feel like. But again, I feel like with this Michigan State team, what we've seen is them be able to compete and dominate most of the best teams in all of college hockey. I mean, outside of the NCHC, the Big Ten is probably the best conference in all of college hockey, and obviously they are first place in there right now with huge wins over Penn State, wins over Wisconsin, and wins over Michigan. These are teams that you are going to see in the tournament. So I like their chances this year, really, in the tournament. And again, as I mentioned, the only way they're going to really lose any of these games is if they beat themselves. And right now, with the way they're playing, with the way that first line is heating up in terms of points, it's just going to be really hard, I think, for them to make those mental laps at this point because they're just playing perfect hockey and on-fire hockey right now.
Yeah, and that freshman class they've got this year has changed the team. Porter Martone, Riker Lee, so fun to watch the entire time.
God, man. I know. I think you guys saw that Porter Martone goal yesterday. I mean, just an absolute rocket from the face-off dot. I mean, he caught Ivan Kovic just a second too short on that back-end post and just lasered it right in, man. It was an awesome goal. Philly's going to love that kid when he gets over there.
Yeah, so much skill. It's so fun to watch. Well, make sure you check out Oscar Henderson, Jackson Vowinkle. They'll be covering as much of the NCAA tournament. Hopefully we get some good games there.
Yes.
The Big Ten tournament as well is coming up as well,
Big
right?
Ten tournament. We got one more month here of regular season, and then I believe March 11th is when the quarterfinals start. So hopefully we're on bye week during that point because we have the 1 seed. But if not, we will be playing then in Munn Ice Arena against probably Notre Dame, I'm going to assume.
Yes.
But yeah, going to be fun. Getting close to postseason time here. Really exciting.
Yes, make sure that you check out Oscar Henderson, Jackson Vowinkle on that beat. As I said, they will be covering all the playoff action. Hopefully there's some more NCAA tournament games this year. I guess that's how I'll put it. Yeah. Hopefully they go a little deeper this year. Now, make sure you also check out Cape Souza. Great writing for that beat. Now, we're joined by another member of a different beat, the women's basketball beat, Josh Lee, our women's basketball announcer. How are you doing, Josh? Oh, 1 second, Josh. I'd put him on speaker, Jack. All good. There we go.
Much better, Josh.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, there we go. All right,
How
Josh. Doing pretty
doing
good.
How are you doing on this Super Bowl Sunday, Joe? I know it's an important day for you in your history.
Yes, very excited, Josh. You got any picks that you want to give real quick before we hop in women's basketball?
I think we covered it on Wednesday in our sports meeting, but it should be a good game, hopefully. I think it's going to be a real close one today.
Yes, for those out there who do not know, on the sports meeting on Thursday, I played 3 Drake May highlights and had everyone pick which one was the toughest. There was a Monsters University one, a Seinfeld one, and a Key and Peele Lightning in the Bottle one. They're all great. So fun. But Josh, yes, we saw Michigan State women's basketball. They lost to number 22 Maryland. They got upset. They're the 12th ranked team in the nation, but they bounced back versus Penn State. Their record, Josh, continues to mirror the men's team. It's kind of freaky at this point. This one blew my mind. This isn't about the record, but Tom Izzo's birthday, January 30th. Robin Freilic's birthday, January 29th. Pretty ridiculous. Josh, did you know about that by any chance?
Yeah, we were able to, thankfully, on January 29th, the women's team went down to Purdue, and we were able to go down there, got to speak with Freilich after the game, and wish her a happy birthday. And they got a big win in Purdue, but had a couple tough losses, but thankfully we were able to bounce back yesterday with a big win, especially being down by a good portion against Penn State.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, first question, what after that tough loss to Maryland, what was Coach Freilich saying in the presser? What was she talking about?
She was extremely frustrated with the team. It was one of the first press conferences that we were able to be a part of where you could sense the frustration of what was going on. She was echoing the sentiment of that the team did not play like a team. It was very me basketball. No one was playing as a group, and it was definitely shown through the press conference. I've never seen Coach Freilich so angry and disappointed with the group like she was against Maryland.
Wow, it's good to see that she cares. That's always a big thing. That's what I love from her and Izzo is they both will get frustrated. They'll really know how to respond and actually coach their team up. They're not just saying, okay, we deserve to lose this one. It's pure anger every time. So, Josh, I also want to ask, so what are you feeling heading into the matchup that's coming up this week? They're playing number 2 UCLA, and right now the team is 20-4 at the moment. As I said, the identical record to the men's basketball team. One little fun fact before we hop into your answer, Josh, I apologize. For those losses that both teams have had, one of them came on the same day, that Minnesota game and the Maryland game. Jesus. One came within 1 day of each other, the Michigan games for both teams. One came within 2 days of each other. That was their first loss, Duke for MSU. I'm blanking out right now. Josh, can you say what the first loss was?
That would be
that was Wisconsin,
yes.
I believe.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then the other one, I will admit, was a little bit separate. It was about like 14 days between them. But the other ones, it's very impressive. The fact that 3 were within 2 days of each other, it's weird to see. It's something you don't see too often. I thought that was cool. But, Josh, yes, how do you feel going into that matchup with number 2?
It is going to be a tough one. That is to say the least. UCLA is dominant on basically every side of the ball, and their only losses have been against, I believe, top 5 teams this season, so it's definitely going to be a tough contest. Not sure if Theron Halleck will be back yet. She's been out with a foot injury for basically about 2 months, and they could really use her, but they're going to have to do their best against the UCLA bigs, and Laura Betts, she's an absolute stud. She's going to be incredible to watch at the next level. Kiki Rice, they're going to be dominant. So MSU is going to really have to do some of the things that they've really struggled at the last couple games, and they're going to have to do them well. They've had a hard time with turnovers. Got to be patient in setting up the plays that they want, and that's going to be really important for MSU against such a tough UCLA team. They're going to want to get it done. They're going to have to guard Laura Betts tough. They're going to have to try and get her double teams and try and force turnovers from her.
Yeah, I think that's a great breakdown right there. You got to get some way to disrupt UCLA's momentum, and it's going to be tough. It's a number 2 team, and for those who don't know, women's basketball, when you reach the top 5, you're on a separate echelon from the rest of the country, it feels like. And Josh, what are you thinking? Well, what's your expectation for number 2 UCLA? Do you have a score prediction? Do you have a winner prediction? Whatever you'd like to give, a big game from a certain player? Any final thoughts?
Well, we saw it on Saturday. We saw number 24 from MSU. Amy Terrian had a lights out performance. She came off the bench. Normally doesn't play, especially in these conference games. Spartans normally run a 7 to 8 person rotation. And Amy Terrian is not one of those names that normally pops in, but she popped in when they needed it most, and she was hitting some big threes. So I want to see the momentum carry over for her. She played unbelievable, and it was so exciting to see the reaction because at one point MSU was down 16 to Penn State on the road, and Amy Terrian and the Spartans helped cut it all the way back to 1 and get a big timeout for Penn State to reset, and MSU kept the momentum going. But this is going to be a tough one. I'm sadly going to say I think UCLA is going to win this one, but I do think that this is going to be one of the closest margins of the season that UCLA has won by. That's my prediction.
Yeah, I've got to say that Terrian shot, I respect that. I didn't realize that she had 9 points in 10 minutes. Great game from her. Yeah, really good. Well, Josh, Thank you for calling in. Any final thoughts on the Super Bowl Sunday you'd like to share?
Hopefully, no matter what, a Spartan's bringing home a ring, and I hope for your sake, Joe, that it is not an absolute blowout.
I would take a blowout one way, but hopefully not the other. Josh, thank you for joining us today. Make sure you check out the Women's Basketball Beat. Josh Lee, joined by Brian Rivers on the mic, Liam Chudler, Joshua Loken. Learned that recently. Joshua Loken. That will correct that from now on. The women's basketball beat writers. Check them out. Josh, thank you for calling in.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Yep, you too. Peace. All right. Well, we've had a lot to talk about in this first segment. We've done men's basketball. We've done hockey. We've done women's basketball. We're going to step aside for a little bit now, go into, I can see Josh talking on my Mac somehow here. That was a real freaky moment. I appreciate that, Jack. Just connected.
That happened last week.
Yeah, Weird that happens after the call.
Yeah.
That doesn't make much sense. But yes, we're going to be back in 3 short minutes. We're not going to send you away for too long. Make sure you come back to listen to the Green and White Report. The rest of the show is Super Bowl Sunday. We gotten everything else out of the way. Now it's time for the real meat and potatoes of this thing. We'll see you on the other side. This is the Green and White Report.
Your tweet